The following segment is sponsored by the Upstate Center for Addiction-Treatment.
The way we conduct ourselves in stores these days is obviously different. Our workplaces are adapting and having new floor plans to allow for social distancing. But what about the world of dating? What does it look like now? And will it be a different game forever in some ways? Dr. Ish Major is here. Good morning, Dr. Ish.
Good morning, Margaret. How are you doing today?
Great. Good to see you. Before we jump into the topic of the day, we all know you're a psychiatrist, author, dating expert, and TV host. And one of your big passions locally is your work at the Upstate Center for Addiction-Treatment. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's good to be able to come back home and do something cool like this for the community. Opiates have devastated the upstate. We know that. And so we've got a couple of locations here where we do medication-assisted treatment for opiate addiction. We use Suboxone only, and 80% of our folks had pain, which is how they got started on the opiates in the first place. So we also treat their pain. You know, most folks had a very legitimate issue. They had a car accident, they got hurt on the job, they went to go see their doctor, got a very real prescription, and when it was time to come off of that prescription, they didn't taper it the right way, and so 3 days later, they woke up and they were in full-blown withdrawal. So we do that. We use a cool therapy called horizontal therapy or nerve regeneration therapy, where we're getting 80% reduction in people's pain levels. So if you can imagine having a pain for most of your life on the level of 8 or 9, and in 20 treatments later, that pain level is down to a 2 or 3, that is a whale of difference in your life. So we're very excited about that.
Love those success stories. Meanwhile, we're talking about how restaurants, bars, clubs, they're all reopening. These are places where single people meet. So my question, are singles going to start flocking back to those places? They're going to start hunting again? Or is it going to be more of a slow and cautious return? What do you think?
Well, Margaret, you know what they say, hunters got to hunt, right? So that part is going to happen. But 60% of us are very, very cautious, whether it's about going back to a bar or a restaurant or just going back to our favorite store. So, you know, half of us are going to be really, really slow to dip our foot in the water, and then the other half are really going to rush back. So we're going to see that mad rebound effect for sure. But over this crisis, we've had these really cool things that we call conversations, right? And we found out that these conversations actually feel good because I get to know more about you, you get to know more about me. And I think when people start to see that, wow, that's really not happening in this bar situation, in this bar setup, then they're going to naturally start to gravitate back towards the thing that helps them feel good.
Well, and it's interesting. We've talked about how people just have a better sense these days of what's real. And it's odd that it's taken social distancing for us to find that. But what's happened?
Well, you know, there's always a silver lining. And so the silver lining to this crisis is we have been forced to think about what we need to get through this life. And what we need is that connection. What we need is somebody who helps us feel important. What we need is somebody who helps us feel significant, right? And we're going to gravitate back towards that. It's a very real thing. I don't know about you, but I've noticed over this crisis that we have less and less tolerance for those things that don't help us feel good, whether that was a job we may be dreading having to go back to, whether that was those friends we thought we were going to miss, but turns out, actually, I really, really don't. And folks are looking at the partner that they have. They're like, okay, these are some things we need to work on to polish up this connection. So the crisis, as hard as it is, it's really helped us polish up that connection straight to the thing that helps us feel good.
Humans will always find a way to connect. We like to see that. But, you know, we've been focusing on immediate changes, what we're going to see in dating right away. But what about a few days down the road? Is cyber dating going to be more common, and maybe just that chance encounter at the bar is going to be less common?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way we're headed. That's the way we've been headed for a while. You know, 10 to 15% of marriages, folks, they met online now. And the data is showing that the folks who are meeting online are standing a much better chance at making it in the long run, right? So the scales are always tilted in one way or the other, and dating is no different. And we are seeing a shift to the online dating. My unbox is getting flooded with questions about online dating. How does it work? And the other thing that's going to be happening in bars, Margaret, is this. The Sunday morning effect is a real thing. So after a few weekends of out and about and carousing and feeling like, this really doesn't feel as great as I remember it. And after a few of those Sunday mornings of waking up and feeling empty, you're going to gravitate naturally back to the thing that helps you feel good, which is the connection. You're looking for the connection. It's not about the 20 people you get to see and get distracted by. It's about the one or two who really help you feel good. And so folks are really going to focus on that.
All right. I think there's a lot we can delve into when we talk about the subject of how dating is going to be evolving. Meanwhile, the Upstate Center for Addiction Treatment has a location on South Pine Street in Spartanburg, another one in Anderson. To schedule an appointment and work with Dr. Ish, call 651-8116. Anything else we didn't touch on before we go?
You know what? I think when it comes to making the call to our treatment center, the hardest call is the first. The first call is always the hardest call. And so I think you'd be surprised how quickly you can feel better once you make the call. So if you or somebody you know has been struggling or really just struggling to hide their addiction, just pick up the phone and give us a call. You know, Amy or Abby on the other end is more than ready to get you set up. And you can see myself, we've got a ton of therapists ready to help you with all the emotional fallout from what's been going on. And you'd be amazed how you can get your life back in the next 3 to 6 months. So don't wait. Go ahead and make that call.
There's help out there. It's very reassuring. Dr. Ish, thanks so much for being here with us. We look forward to doing it again soon.
Thanks, Margaret.